Hi friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michele, mama 4 and military wife, and I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. Do you find yourself constantly craving sweets or carbs? You guys are not alone. Cravings are one of the biggest struggles that I find with people when they're trying to lose weight and get healthy. And sometimes it can even be sneaky. We sort of like have a taste for a sweet and we don't think of that as a craving. But really we're having a craving or an urge anytime we want something and we have a strong desire or pull to it, but yet we're not hungry and we don't need it. So the problem isn't always willpower. Our brain starts to get wired. And certain foods have an impact on our body biologically too, especially those carbs. They can make us feel better. They bring us comfort. So today I'm going to be diving into what cravings are, why they happen, and how to stop them from controlling you. So before we get started, I want to share 2 of my favorite supplements that I use and I love, because when it comes to cravings that we're talking about today, the first step is to make sure that you're giving your body the nutrients it actually needs. And these are 2 great ways to do that. So the first one is my favorite green juice from Organifi. And not only does Organifi have the greens, it has ashwagandha. And ashwagandha is a stress adaptogen herb. So it helps us with stress regulation. And let's be honest, stress is one of the biggest triggers for craving. So I love mixing mine with some unsweetened almond milk and protein powder in the morning. And it just helps me to feel good. And you guys can use the code HEALTHY20 to save 20% off your order. You can use that code anytime. I've been able to combine it with other coupon codes. So make sure you guys use that code to get the best price. The second one is one of the most important nutrients that we need, but our body doesn't produce, is omega-3s. So omega-3s are essential for reducing inflammation because it affects our brain, our metabolism, our skin, our joints, like every cell of our body. So unless you're eating a lot of salmon daily, you're probably not getting enough. And so one of my favorite omega oils is by Zenzino, and that's why I've partnered with them. They actually allow you to test your levels at home so you can see where you are, so you don't have to guess. You can then also supplement and then retest again, and it's super affordable to do it at home, and you don't have the hassle of getting like scripts and different things from your doctors. So check the links down below, and you guys can always email me or message me on social media if you guys have questions about those. All right, so let's dive into the topic. So let's first talk about what is a craving. And I use craving or urge interchangeably because they can be the same thing. When we think about we have a craving, we have this intense desire. It can be for a specific food. It can also be like picking up our phone. It could be scrolling on social media. That can be a craving or an urge. So it's triggered by habits, emotions, our brain. And we just have this strong desire or pull or urge towards something. So for example, you've had a long, stressful day and suddenly you feel like you need something sweet. Feels like this intense desire, feels like this need. It feels so urgent, like you can't focus on anything else till you get it, and it's going to be the thing that's going to make you feel better. But the truth is, it's not really about the food. It's about how your brain has been trained to respond to these certain emotions and cues. So when we get so used to, we feel stressed, we eat a cookie, or we feel stressed, and we're just going to sit down and have some chips right out of the bag and eat way more than we think we are. We start to develop that pattern in our brain. We're training our brain to do that. I feel stress, I seek comfort in food, and it repeats and it gets stronger and stronger. But The good news is God didn't create us to be controlled by our cravings or urges. We are designed for peace and strength and self-control. I'm not saying any of those are easy, but those can be in us with the right tools. And when we learn to recognize that these urges and cravings for what they are, we can start to break free from these unhealthy patterns, and we can start to make choices that truly do nourish our bodies and our souls, because we are meant to take care of our bodies and provide nourishment to it. And eating a bunch of cookies or chips or these processed foods, these things that we know don't nourish our bodies. So we can start to step into that where we can have self-control around sugar, around chips, where we can have control even when we feel stress or anxiety or anger or these strong emotions. So a lot of us, we have cravings for sweet things. We think chocolate, cookies, ice cream, donuts, but also some of us have cravings for chips, pretzels, or crackers. Or maybe we're trying to reduce those sweets, and then we supplement it with some of these other processed foods. But whether it's chips, pretzels, crackers, cookies, ice cream, in our body, in our bloodstream, they both act like sugar. They spike our blood sugar. So processed carbs typically spike our blood sugar, and they're going to have that crash. And then it can trigger another craving, and the cycle goes on. And food manufacturers know this. They make foods sweet. They take the nutrients out of them, like fiber. So if we have something that has some carbs in it, but it also has fiber, it's not going to spike our blood sugar as high. So we really want to pay attention to what we're eating and what we're having cravings and urges for. And as we're talking about this, I want you guys to keep in mind that craving and urges are not bad, but it's what we do with them. So we don't necessarily have bad emotions like sad, frustrated, angry. Those emotions in themselves are not bad. We are meant to have many different emotions, but what we do with them makes the difference. If I'm angry and then I start yelling at someone, that's not great. So if I have a craving, the craving's not bad. God put desires in us to crave and want things. Now, food manufacturers and just the whole way our food is set up, we just have so many more sweets, so much more sugar, so much more food right in front of us. So that craving or desire isn't necessarily bad. But when we act on it and we're eating out of a craving or an urge when we don't need it, that's what's not great. And then we reinforce that to our brain. And I think this helps because sometimes, especially when we're talking with emotions, if we think when I feel anxious, that is bad, and then we're resisting feeling anxious instead of just leaning into it, trying to be curious, recognize what's going on, then we can move through it. But when we think something is bad, we're resisting it. So the same thing with craving and urges. I want you to realize they're not bad. We just have to figure out a way to move through it in a way that is healthy and nourishing for our bodies. So remember, feeling stressed isn't necessarily bad. Of course, if we are having chronic stress, that's not great for our bodies. But same, having some stress, it's not necessarily bad. But how you respond to that stress matters. Do I reach for those Cheez-Its? Or do I recognize what I really need? Remember, every time we give in to a craving, that means I'm stressed, I have a craving for those Cheez-Its, I eat it, I just strengthen that neural pathway to do that. So when I feel this way, I eat this food and it temporarily makes me feel better because I got a dopamine hit. But that's not serving or helping me in the long term. It's not teaching me how to deal with that stress. It's almost teaching me that stress is bad and I need to eat something to get rid of it. Instead of I have this little bit of stress, I can feel it, and maybe I have some different things I can do, and then I can move on. So we can rewire our brain. Our brain is plastic, meaning it's adaptive. So we can create new thoughts. We can create new patterns in our brain. So we can train ourselves to respond differently. We aren't locked in and stuck with the same thing. You can even think back to your past. How have you changed? Is there something that you used to think or you're used to do that you no longer do? I'm sure there's things, because we can rewire our brain. So wherever you're feeling stuck with cravings or sugar or sweets or whatever that is, you can change it. We have choices, and we have to feel that we have some power and control, because when we think that we don't have any choices or any control, we're going to stay stuck. So remember, it may not be easy and you may not know the how right now, but you do have choices and you do have control, and you can change the way you're thinking. So in my new course I just released, the self-coaching system, I help navigate you through urges and cravings using a specific tool with the metaphor of riding a wave. Because think of a craving like a wave. It rises, it peaks, and it fades away. You don't have to act on it. That craving is not going to stay there all the time. So this course I created goes into depth. This is just one of the many tools in the course. And it goes into depth on how to do the surfing the urge and what to do in the moment. How to resist that pull of old habits and strengthen new neural pathways. That's how we're going to support lasting change. Because at the end of the day, lasting weight loss isn't just about food and exercise. It's about your mindset. Your mindset is running the show. It literally shapes every choice you make. So in this course, you get the tools to shift your thoughts, to finally break free of that self-sabotage and create that consistency that you've been looking for. So when you learn how to shift your thoughts, process your emotions, everything changes. You start to stay consistent and make choices that actually support your health. So this course isn't another diet plan that's just going to fail you, because most of us has tried plenty of diets and we're not where we want to be. So this is about real tools to help you think clearly and to let go of beliefs that are keeping you stuck, and also teaching you how to regulate your emotions. So for example, when we're stressed, we're not grabbing for food. So right now I have this course at an incredible price, and I also have a special bonus. So if you complete this course by May 15th, you're going to get a free 55-minute coaching call with me. And we can go over whatever you want, whatever tool you might need a little more help with. So if this speaks to you, check out the links down below in the show notes and sign up. Don't stay stuck, friends. Take this opportunity to create some lasting change, not only for your health. A lot of these tools in the course can be applied to relationships and your personal life just in general. So when we're thinking about the cravings, we don't want to give in. We have to know what we're feeling. Are we actually hungry? If we're actually hungry, maybe we need to eat something. Maybe it's not the cookie, but we may actually need to eat something. Or are we stressed, bored, or tired? And can we actually give ourselves what we need instead? So if we're exhausted, maybe we take a 10-minute nap. If we're stressed, maybe we go for a walk, do some deep breathing, or talk with someone. We need to give ourselves what we need. And I've really been using these coaching tools that are in the course, especially the ones with mindset, not only for me, but with my kids. So we just finished eating dinner, and I've been trying to walk my kids through this. So when we have a feeling, we'll just use the example of frustrated, because my kids might be frustrated with each other sometimes. That feeling comes from a thought. So they were thinking something like, maybe my brother is so annoying, he won't stop doing this. And then they feel frustrated, and then they act in a certain way. So they might be mean back, they might start yelling, and they get their result. So at dinner, I was using examples, asking them how they were thinking and feeling about things. And then the big thing is, how could they think to make them feel better? So the circumstance is the same. I think I said something like, my brother's annoying me. So that could be the same, but how could they think differently? Maybe they could think, he just really wants someone to play with, and he doesn't know how to do that in a good way. And then they might feel a little more peace. And then maybe they could speak to him, hey, if you want to play with me, don't do this, just ask. So these mindset tools are so key, We have to know how we're feeling and how we're thinking, and we have to know what we really need. So if you're overwhelmed with work, your brain may scream, eat something now. It's going to make you feel better. But instead of reaching for that sugar or those carbs, we can pause and ask ourselves, what do I actually need right now? Can I ride this craving out? And so I give lots of tools in my course to help you do this, because most of us have not learned this. If I think back to where I was in my young 20s, I really didn't have any tools to deal with my emotions. I basically thought what we think are bad emotions, or if I felt anxious, I thought that was bad and I should feel some other way. I didn't have any tools to change my thoughts, to process my emotions and feelings. And when you can do this, it can help you in your weight loss journey, and it can help you in your relationship and your life. All right. So to wrap it up, I want you guys to remember cravings aren't the enemy, but giving into them is what is keeping you stuck. And you do have the power to retrain your brain and respond differently. And when you learn to manage these urges for food that come up, you can start to break free from the emotional eating and start making healthy choices that are actually serving your health, that are actually helping you to reach your goals. All right, friends. So I hope this episode was helpful. I hope you were able to take a little sliver away and something to help you along in your health journey. And remember, if you want to go deeper, check out my course, the self-coaching system, that's going to teach you how to handle these cravings, how to ride that wave, and to rewire your mindset and to handle your emotions. So check all the show notes for the details. And friends, just keep on moving this week.